one of the things that I really didn't understand the power of early on in my entrepreneurial journey, and I was starting my businesses and really trying to make a positive impact, is I did not understand why your daily routine is the biggest leverage point that you have in your business. But today I'm going to break that down for you and share with you why I believe, and I know from experience, and I've seen not only in my company but with the clients that we serve, when they implement an effective daily routine, their businesses grow immensely, and they grow with a lot lower stress and a lot lower challenges. We're going to dive into that today. So looking forward to sharing this with you, and we'll get right into it. I'm Gabe Arnold, and this is the Green Mountain Podcast. We are the champions who brave the elements to create beauty. We see chaos and create order. We are never afraid of hard work, and we understand the power of strategic thinking and intentional actions. We come from all walks of life, and we will never allow our past to determine our future potential. We create beauty around the homes of our customers and increase the value of our community with the work that we do every day. We understand the power of consistent branding because it helps us grow and serve all those around us. We practice effective sales so our company, employees, and community can benefit from the value we add. We intentionally invest in operational habits that help us deliver excellent results to our customers on a continual basis. We understand that powerful and beautiful things take time to grow, and with consistent watering and intention, amazing results can happen. We are committed to making the world a better place by being positive examples to all those around us. We don't allow anyone to look down on us because we know the value we bring to our community as leaders. We create positive workplaces for our employees so they feel safe and supported, and at the same time, we hold ourselves to high standards. We pursue excellence on a daily basis because we know the journey is worth the sacrifice. We are the protectors of the land. We are the guardians of beauty. We are the heroes. We are landscapers. As I mentioned in the beginning of the show, early on, I didn't really understand the power of what a daily routine could do. And one of the examples that I always share is how years ago, about 10 years ago now, I woke up one day and realized, man, I don't look as good as I did when I was 18 or 21. Things are changing. I'm gaining weight. I'm losing my hair, which that didn't stop. But I'm not feeling like I'm really, as fit and strong as I want to be. And I knew I needed to make a change, but I also knew that I wasn't in a position where I wanted to start, going to the gym for an hour and a half a day and doing something crazy, because that would be really hard to change my normal habits. And it would be just really shocking to my normal process and kind of habits that I did have, because all of us do have a daily routine. We just don't always think about it. So in that moment where I realized, I was like, man, it's time to do something about my health. I made the decision. I said, I'm just going to make one small change. I knew, and I think probably plenty of people have heard this, I knew that when I was drinking, 3 or 4, cans of pop or some Red Bulls or Monsters, I knew from, just seeing it and reading about it, that inside of, a can of pop, it's basically like if you take a can of pop and you dump out, the pop in there, if you just fill it 3/4 full with pure refined sugar, that's the same thing. So I knew that if I was going to, change my health, there was some things I needed to change. I knew that it was really damaging for me to continue to consume excessive amounts of sugar, because when we consume that much sugar, it can cause weight gain. It causes mental problems. It can, there's just so many negative health effects from it. And I knew that, but I felt like I was kind of addicted to it, or it was normal to me. Maybe it wasn't a full addiction by any means, but it just wasn't healthy. So I said, what, I'm just going to make a really, really small change because I think I can handle that. And so I said, when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to change my routine, is I'm going to drink a big glass of water. That's all I did. So I started with that. And then I did that for a couple of weeks, and I started to feel better because I was like really hydrated in the morning. And water is one of the best things to keep us healthy, to make our mind sharp, it lowers anxiety. There's so many positive benefits of just drinking pure water. And so I started with that. And after a couple of weeks, I really felt like I had that down. So it was a really slow process. I'm like, I wake up, drink a glass of water. Awesome. I'm healthier, because I was healthier. I was more hydrated, so I didn't want to drink as much pop. But then the second thing I did is I was like, well, I handled this, so I'm going to now I'm going to go to the gym, which is a couple miles down the road, and I'm going to walk on the treadmill for 10 minutes. I'm like, I can handle that. I'm not going to run. I'm not going to try to do it for an hour. I'm not going to lift weights. I'm not going to do anything else, but I'm going to walk on the treadmill for 10 minutes. And then I'll, I think I jumped in the hot tub at the, because it was at a YMCA. So I had a nice little, reward after that. And after I did that for a couple of weeks, I said, man, I have this handled. So then I started walking like 20 minutes. And once I had walked 20 minutes, for a couple of weeks, and I was drinking a glass of water when I woke up and more water at the gym. Then after a couple more weeks, I added in, lifting some weights, and I started to get a little bit more active and actually, trying to work out. And it was a really, really slow progression with minor changes. But in a matter of a year, I had lost a little bit of weight. I felt a lot healthier. I had better energy. I was drinking way more water, had eliminated basically all the sugary drinks I was drinking. And I noticed that my business started to grow. And I was like, wow, this is interesting. So I was like, I wonder what's changed. And as I reflected back, I saw that by making those small little daily decisions with my morning routine and what I did throughout the day, that I had more energy, I was more focused, and I was more motivated because I was doing what in my mind felt like a hard thing to do in the mornings: get up, drink water, and go work out. It felt like a hard thing to do, but once I got into it, it wasn't really that hard because I just kind of really eased into it. And that's just one example of what I now have in my daily routine, which we talked about yesterday. One of my first things I do now is set my daily intentions. I write out a list of all the things that I could do in the day, and then I just prioritize the top 3. I go for a walk. I do some, I work out, and it really sets my day up for success. And the really interesting thing about this is when we choose to be intentional about our daily routine, and I recommend starting with 1 or 2 really simple things and just adding on to those as you feel comfortable, is not only do we get the benefit, we can show up to work better, we can really lead from a place of being prepared and really taking care of ourselves, but the example that we set for our employees, they start to notice and they will start to follow our example, especially as something as simple as, like, if you show up to water or show up to work with a big jug of water instead of 4 or 5 energy drinks, then they'll notice that. And if you just do it, you don't have to tell it to them. Eventually, some people will go, oh, I'm going to try that more. And you can encourage them and talk to them about it too. But it's really our example that's the loudest and sets the biggest, makes the biggest impact on them. And the third thing that is really crucial as it relates to setting a daily routine, which is usually should really start in the morning in most cases. And it's good to kind of have an end of the day routine when possible, but it's always good to get that morning routine established first. Is I believe that our integrity is built on the promises that we keep to ourselves. So when we wake up and we know we should drink water, but we skip it, it's like we committed to it, but then we backed out and we kind of lied to ourselves, and it breaks down and degrades our own integrity and how we feel about ourselves. But when we choose to take a little baby step that's so easy, we can do it on our worst day. Like drinking a glass of water I could do that on my worst day. That's why I started with that. And I keep that promise. I start to build more trust and confidence in myself. I start to, just increase my own personal integrity. And it allows me to operate in a lot different way as I'm working with the employees, if I'm working with customers, as I'm working on achieving things, I have that self-confidence because I've made a promise to myself and I've kept it. That may sound like a really simple thing that is obvious. It is really obvious, I think, once we talk it through. But once you choose to commit to do that, you change who you are and how you operate. And that's why when we invest intentionally in setting up a morning routine that leads us into a really productive daily routine, we can move so much farther, so much faster, than we can if we don't have it. So I know one of the reasons for me that I started, my own business and I'm an entrepreneur is I want freedom. I want to be able to do what I choose to do. I want to be able to have flexibility, have the ability to make more money, have the ability to choose what kind of things I work on. And so that drive for freedom sometimes feels like it's in conflict with setting up a structure or a routine in the morning. But what I've realized is when I create that structure and routine, I actually get more of the freedom and more of the advantages that I want out of owning my own business. So my encouragement to you today is ask yourself, what's part of my normal routine that I'm already doing? Maybe just write it down, kind of pay attention for a couple of days, and then ask yourself, what are some really small changes that you could do on your worst day, when your busiest day, when it's the hardest? What are some really small changes you could put into that morning routine? They're going to help you show up in a more effective way, a more positive way, and really help you serve and lead your employees, your customers, and really grow the business that you want. So I hope that's helpful to you. If you have any questions or comments, or you need any resources around this, it's something I've done for years. I'd love to share it with you. You can head over to landscapemarketinghero.com, and I will see you on tomorrow's show. If you're ready to begin your journey up the Green Mountain, where we show you how to build a low-stress, high-profit, $10 million per year landscaping company, then head over to landscapemarketinghero.com to download your free growth map. One of our guides will be there to help you along the way. Again, that's landscapemarketinghero.com.